Alright, today's the day. This is the first time in a long time that I'm trying a new game since I stepped away from No Man's Sky. If you saw the last video, you know how it turned out that I just completely burned out, spent hundreds of hours, had amazing moments, but it was time, to take a breather. So here we are, Forever Skies. It's got survival, floating airships, post-apocalyptic science, and I'm going to be completely fresh in this playthrough. So let's see if it sparks anything. So right off the bat, the atmosphere is giving off a little bit of like calm before the storm, dusty, empty, and kind of beautiful. Sorta. We're in a space, or I should say we're not in space, but we are, above the earth, and that's kind of new. We're just kind of in the sky. We were dropped in, we kind of crashed into a building, but we're way above the ground. If you kind of look down and see, all we see is clouds. That's it. And these very, very tall buildings for some odd reason, and I'm like, okay, how do we do it? What do we do next? This is definitely not No Man's Sky, and I kind of like it that way. Not really feeling like I have to go from objective to objective to objective just because it's a milestone and I need to complete it. It's because I need to survive in this game and I need the tools to do it, and that's the reason why I'm completing these objectives. It gets me going when I need to do those things. It's not, oh, let me find a workaround around it. It's something different. For some odd reason, I'm getting that feeling of Subnautica all over again. When you're first in the escape pod and then you get hit in the head with that panel and then you wake up and your first instinct is, oh my god, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna eat? What am I gonna use for water? How in the world am I gonna get out of this tiny pod? And that's the spark that I've been looking for. Not gonna lie, I'm a little blown away by this, and I'm a little excited to play this. I can't wait to see where it goes. So far, it's giving me those kind of survival in the sky meets industrial mechanics. I'm gathering, upgrading, trying not to fall to my death. Good times in a survival game. But you know how it is. So, alright. Maybe I shouldn't have touched that button. It's fine. I've played enough weird survival games to know, this is part of the deal. You either do or you don't. 50-50, could be, might not be, but you know how things are. I will say everything feels, really grounded within the game. Like, I was walking up this platform and I saw these gaps in between and I thought I was going to fall through, but to my knowledge, when I went ahead and tried that little gap, didn't fall through, everything was okay. So, it felt, well, I can't say felt really down to earth, that's a bit of a pun. But, there's a weight to it. You're not just zipping around, you're building something piece by piece. So while you're starting out the game, you come to this airship and it's this little tiny thing that has a couple of catwalks on it and, nothing else. Just the balloon, the helm, and everything there. You're supposed to pick up these tools. Once you do that, and some of the things you're gonna need to build the tools, which is the research station, then you're building this vehicle piece by piece in order for you to go from point A to point B. I had to build maybe a couple more rooms because I had to move the research station so I could put a box down, so I could put in a cooker, some more catwalks of some of these other machines, and I also needed to put in a bed in order for me to sleep because sleeping is part of the game. That's how you recharge. So that kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I need to sleep. I can't just, stay up all night and grind. No, we need to eat. We need to sleep. We need to drink water. We need to take care of ourselves. Finding upgrades is also a very big part of the exploration, but we'll talk about exploration in a minute. When you get your upgrades, it feels like you accomplished something. Like, I was wandering around thinking, well, if I'm gonna build this amazing ship that's gonna have all this cool stuff in it, and I have this tiny balloon, how is it gonna fit? How is it gonna fly through the sky at a quick speed like it's supposed to? You end up finding these little upgrades on the ground. You put them in the research station, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. That was a bit of the highlight of my exploration discovery. But let's go ahead and talk about the exploration, a little bit of the game loop here. So when you explore, you have to go to these towers. Once you go to these towers, you gotta get these batteries. Once you get the batteries, you can then use them for your tool charger, for your research station when it runs out, or anything else you might need on your airship in order for you to go from point A to point B, or get this new research item that you just picked up, or maybe to get this item, or because, well, your tool is kind of done for and you're stranded. It happens, trust me. But exploration, that's one of the key elements in this game. I know that's something from No Man's Sky that we've kind of touched on in the past, and that's their core game mechanic. But in Forever Skies, it's a different kind of gameplay. I ran into this fish, and I thought, oh, an interesting little fish. Let me get closer to it. So I got closer to it, and it attached itself to the ship, and, well, it was damaging the ship, and we could have died. Luckily we didn't. We shot it down, got it, and patched up the ship, and we were able to move on. So you never know what you're gonna find when you're thumbing through these playthroughs. Then you get a point to the game where you're like, oh wow, this is kind of beautiful, but at the same time you're like, ugh, they let this place go to waste. What happened? And you're just kind of navigating your way through these messy buildings, not to mention toppling a few of them because you're looking for specific, materials in order for you to move on in the game. But this is the stuff I miss when, you're deep in a new game and something just, it just hits. No music, no quest marker, just you and the world reacting. Not gonna lie, I couldn't pry away from the game for a second. I was honestly gonna sit there and play for hours, but got work in the morning. So, Forever Skies, it's not No Man's Sky, it's not trying to be, which is great. It's quieter, slower, but it makes me feel like you're building up to something, like that early survival grind, the tension flying solo, or with friends, because this is a multiplayer game too. But when you're out there, with or without friends, you're still kind of feeling like you're alone. That's the same thing you kind of feel in Subnautica, or Subnautica 1. You're alone. I don't know if it'll be the next long-term series, but I do know this. It made me feel something I've been missing, and that's a win. So now I'm asking you, should I keep up with this game? Or try something weird and off the radar, just cuz. Drop your recommendations below in the comments, and thanks for sticking around with me through this next chapter. We're just getting started. See you in the next world, gamer. Oh, shit.